Konnichiwa everybody, welcome back to another video. This is a VR in response to one I've been tagged in by John Bunday, who himself was first tagged in it by Mark Goes Bling Gaming. So I'll put a link in the description to both those lads' channels, both great channels. But I've got to say, these three questions have given me more grief than any other VR I've ever got involved with. They have been an absolute nightmare for me. All three of them in some ways. Well, there's kind of 3.5 questions. But anyway, a few of the other guys have responded already. So I've really wrestled with these three questions, like I say, and this is the best I've come up with. They're nightmare questions. And Steve also said he found them really difficult as well. So anyway, so the first one is the first game you ever bought with your own money. Now, I've had to sort of take liberties with this one in a way, because mine would have been a Spectrum game, and it would have been like a budget $1 or $2.99 game that I used to buy from like the local paper shop. And you know, you'd used to bike down to the shop and see what they'd got on the rack, you know, with your pocket money, and you know, your $1.99. But you know, it could have been anything. I can't bloody remember. You know, I'm too old to remember 40 years ago what I bought on the Spectrum. So the first game I can actually remember myself buying is a Master System game. So that's the route I've gone, because I can't remember what the Spectrum game would have been. Rather than pick any random one out, I've picked this Master System game, which I can, you know, clearly remember buying. And it's the first game I can ever remember buying on the Master System, which was my console after the Spectrum. And for some weird reason, I've got very, very vivid memories of buying this. It was on holiday, so I'm assuming it was probably a bit of pocket money, a bit of like holiday money maybe some relatives had given me, and probably some holiday money my mum and dad had given me. And I don't think it was long after I'd had the Master System. And I don't know why I remember, but it was in Chichester, Woolworths. Don't know why I remember that, but I do. And I bought World Grand Prix. I might have mentioned this before, I can't remember, I might have done. I seem to remember talking about this. But I clearly remember buying this while on holiday, and then obviously all the while I was on holiday I was just sitting there looking in the box, at the box rather, couldn't play it. You know, I just wanted to get home and play my new game. And it obviously felt like an eternity when you were like, you know, young kid on holiday, not being able to play it. And I love this game, absolutely brilliant. One of my favourite games on the Master System. I've played it more recently. It's a lot bloody harder than I remember at the time. It's quite brutally hard at times, this, some of the AI, but nevertheless it's like Hang On in cars basically. And I think these days I prefer Hang On, to be honest, but still a wonderful game, wonderful memories. So first game I ever remember buying with my own money, or at least, you know, money I'd been gifted and then bought the game with it. World Grand Prix on the Master System. So the next question then is, what game you would, if you were on a desert island and you could take one game with you, what would it be? So for me, it would have been easy to say one of my favourite racing games, but I've tried to think a bit outside the box, and something which has got sort of long-term player, you know, long-term sort of appeal, and something you could, you know, continually play and go back to without it getting old. Not that these racing games I love do, but I've just tried to pick something slightly more universal. Now I'm surprised nobody's picked this already, to be honest. because it's an all-time classic for me. It's the best game on this system by a country mile, and it's the greatest packing game ever for me. So that might have given it away. I'm talking about Tetris on the original Game Boy. Brilliant game. I know some people not so keen on it, but brilliant for me. Never tire of playing it. The music alone is, you know, it's so hypnotic, and you know, it gets in your head, and it's fantastic. And like I say, it's the best packing game ever for me. It's just, it suits the console perfectly. So that's my pick for my desert island game, the one I'd hope not to get bored of if it was the only thing I could play. Tetris on the Game Boy. Now this is kind of linked in a way to another sub question, in which you pick a celebrity to go with you. Now I have had serious trouble with this. I can't really think, really, to be honest, of a celebrity I'd want to spend, you know, life with, to be fair. So I've ended up plumping for something which was, it's kind of inspired by Retro Red Steve in what he said in his video. And I kind of took a liberty with this as well, really, in that, as I can't think of a celebrity I'd want to spend all that time with, I've kind of picked two characters out of a TV series. So I know it's not strictly perhaps what you should pick, but that's what I've gone with. And it's the greatest TV series ever made for me. 1970s BBC comedy. Absolutely love it. It's brilliant, still brilliant to this day. And you might not, if you've seen it, I'm sure you love it. But if you haven't seen it, you know, find it, hunt it down, check it out. It's brilliant. And I'm talking about Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads. We're the lads. Bob and Terry. If I was stuck on a desert island, I don't think there'd be a dull moment with them two guys. If you've not seen it, it's like a 1970s Men Behaving Badly, kind of. But it's genius. I don't think, like I say, life wouldn't be dull with them two around. So that's my pick for my kind of unreal celebrities. So that then takes me on to the last question, which is a shit game you love playing. Now this was the one question I didn't struggle with. I'd got this nailed down pretty much as soon as John tagged me. Unfortunately, Retro Ed, the sneaky devil, he picked the game in his video. Cheers, Ed. So that then got me rethinking, because I didn't want to pick the same game. So I've come up with another one, and to be fair, there's probably half a dozen I could have chosen in a very similar style here, because I'm talking about a period in gaming which is now kind of largely forgotten and kind of laughed at. And that's the period in about, I don't know, 94 maybe, when FMV seemed to be the future. And every game seemed to be FMV, and they weren't making, you know, all games, the future seemed to be, it was about interactive videos. Clearly, how wrong people were, because they are now pretty shit and laughable, really. However, my pick for a shit game that I do enjoy playing is one of these so-called FMV games, which are little more than interactive videos, and it's just an occasional button press, really. Again, there's quite a few I could have picked. Road Avenger was close. However, the one I've gone for is Sewer Shark. Now this is the Sega CD version, which is the original version. It's a genuine disc, but it's the original box is a shit. So I've just put it in a DVD case. However, there is a better version of this shit, and that turned up on the 3DO. Now this is the nice long box version, obviously. and it's kind of an on-rail shooter. If you've not played it, you might not have done, obviously, because it's stuck on the Mega CD and 3DO. It's kind of an on-rail shooter where you're in this kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, some kind of, it's not a spacecraft, it's some kind of, we'll call it a submarine. It's not a submarine, but it's that kind of thing. And you're in like a sewer system, and you've got to shoot these critters within the sewer system while turning the ship on the right course to get to the end without crashing. So all the game really consists of is you occasionally pressing left, right, up or down when the arrow prompts you on the screen, and you've got to be good on the timing, similar to like Dragon's Lair and Mad Dog McCree, which is the game I was going to pick. And all this time you've got like a voice. This guy here is like an FMV voiceover dude while you're playing the game, and there's something about it that's really kind of engaging, and it brings me back. You know, it's crap, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it's really quite good. So that's my pick anyway. Sewer Shark on the 3DO in this case. So there we go. They're my answers. Very difficult. I'm not going to tag anybody because it's such a nightmare subject in my opinion, but if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. If you want to do a VR, good luck. It's been a real struggle for me, but thanks for watching anyway, and hope to see you soon on the next one. Sayonara.